I mean, I would quite like to get people's questions in, because David has such a long, history of psychic investigation that rather than just the trial, if you even want to ask him something about, his investigations, do please, Mark?
Yeah, what are the satanic marks? Or what is a satanic marks of satanic ritual? What would that be?
There was a triangle on the floor. Inside the triangle was an inverted pentagram, which you probably know everything in Satanism is reversed. There were symbols around the points of the triangle, which was a symbol of the Mars, Saturn and the Moon, which in that combination are quite lethal. As I said, there was other symbols in there, and there were the burnt down stubs of these huge black candles.
Very systematic to me, but it sounds pagan. But don't you think that sometimes the objection I have sometimes with ghost hunters is that everything they find that doesn't fit in with their belief system they call satanic, and the journalists do that all the time, and it kind of builds this idea up that anything really in a context, just a sort of a dead bird in the middle of the forest, for instance, could be called satanic ritual, or naked people on the beach could be called satanic ritual. I just wonder why pagan would use that sort of stuff. Unless you know the people involved,
no, I didn't know
it's sort of satanic.
But they certainly knew me, because I started getting threatening letters from them.
Who were they?
They were all local people. That was in the days when all the postal orders, not postal orders, the postal areas, you could actually see on the stamp whether it came from Finchley, whether it came from Southwick, or whether it came from Barnet. But all the areas in London, you could see where it was stamped. And quite a few of these letters were coming from areas close to Highgate. They were threatening letters. Some of them were even signed in blood. Now you'll probably say to that, how do you know it was? We didn't know if it was real blood, or it could have been sheep's blood. But blood is definitely... I'm not avoiding it, I couldn't hear you.
No, the question is, how do you know that the letters were from the people who have made the Normans and the satanic ritual as you described it?
Because the letters were addressed to myself personally, and it was myself that had already reported their activities to the local newspaper, the Hampstead and Highgate Express.
You've already been in the newspaper.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, yes. Did you take those letters to the police?
No, I didn't.
Why not?
Because they weren't... The letters actually read from memory, by your interference, you have offended the god Abbot. And they were warning.
We sat the mic because of that, but you said the letter was, how did you say it was addressed, or how did it say? Because the question was why you didn't report it to the police.
Yes. Yes. It was because of my interference in their order.
So was that a kind of fear that you didn't want to take to the police, or was that because, was it because you didn't trust the police? Or?
It's because I didn't trust the police.
Okay.
I wouldn't have got a chance to trust the police.
By this stage you had already already had a few run-ins with the police. That's what that's been.
Well, if it's corroborative, somebody writes it, you want to deal with our order. Should we have the corroboration that we might actually really see the house?
Well, not really.
Actually doing something against it.
The letters themselves weren't actually signed in anybody's name. Adolf said they were signed in the past. So I mean, I would just take that to be a threat. I couldn't really feel it was anything else.
Do you have other questions?
One thing, David, that you missed out, the business about the headless body in the car, how come it was that you were acquitted of that charge? Did everybody hear that?
How was it that David was acquitted of the charge of the headless body in the car?
Because I proved in court the truth of lying.
Right, yeah, but specifically Anthony Field.
Oh, in that particular case, I'm going to be quick. The people that actually stole that body or took it out of private cemetery actually came to court and admitted it. It was a group of students who admitted in court they'd just gone there, they were a bit drunk, they'd gone there to mess around, they found the coffin already opened and one of them took it out and one of them said in court he was even dancing with it on the path. They put it in the car, it was just a laugh, it was nothing to do with black magic.
So that, but despite that, the other charges, they still continued with it, even though this was so categorically.
It wasn't really a question of continuance in terms of that they were all heard together, then all the verdicts came up same time.
Other questions? Did you have?
I'm not sure if I should ask David what he didn't say was when he was initiated into Wicca, which would mean giving away his age.
Sorry, I didn't get that, Gareth.
Well, I was going to ask David when he was initiated into Wicca, but that might mean him admitting his age.
Yes, actually, well, I mean, as an addition to Gareth's question there, what first drew you to the occult and to psychic investigations as well? I mean, was there a particular incident in youth that just sort of started?
My impulse actually, I think I got from my mother. She was a member of the spiritualist church and she used to attend meetings in Highgate. My mother died when I was 13. It had already been implanted into me, I think, by her attendance at the spiritualist church. She's also interested in hypnotism and healing and that sort of thing. So I'm undoubtedly picked it up.
Well, a great deal.
Okay.
Just taking notes of possible questions.
Yes.
When you said in the